Hi, TC.
Hi, Stuart.
Welcome, everybody. This is the Group Sales Power Hour. I promise you, it will be filled with power. I have one of my dearest friends here with us as our special expert guest. And if you're here for the first time, I'll tell you the rules. There are none. It's real simple. We want you to engage. We want you to ask questions. We want you to share stories and anecdotes, a word I love but can't spell. You can use the chat box. You can use the Q&A box. I'm looking at them both. Remember, we do record this and it is played back for our boot campers and available as a podcast, right? And if you're here for the first time as an invited guest, would you let me know? Would you go ahead and type in, hey, first time? Let your fingers do the talking. This is not a Zoom meeting where everyone's beautiful faces can be seen. It's just going to be me and TC. So, TC.
Yes, Stuart.
I'm so excited to see you again. It was just a couple of weeks ago. We were down at Moon Palace together delivering the fourth ever in history Group Sales Summit on behalf of for NEXION. What is that event to you and your agents? Like, that's the fourth time.
It is an amazing event, and I'm a little biased because it's one of the ones that I hold very dear to my heart. So the group summit basically is for any one of our NEXION members who maybe are doing groups, maybe want to do groups. They want maybe a way to activate more groups. So we have different levels of agents that come to get inspired by you and by each other. Because as you know, every time we do this, the networking is just amazing and what everybody shares. And I think this one, wow, it was great. Because of everything we've been through this last year, because of some of the changes everyone has had to do with their business, we had the good, the bad, and ugly in some cases stories that have taken place. So it was my mind. It was wonderful.
And it was emotional too, because
it was
so
very
many
emotional
of us, so many of them, it was their first time traveling. It was the first time out. And the room was set up amazing. And by the way, listeners, if you listen to the prior podcast, I gave a little bit of a recap of some of my takeaways, some of the things I learned while I was there. And I want to also start off, we're going to introduce TC if you know her or don't know her, because she's been around the block a couple times, and TC to me is probably, I like to call myself the biggest travel agent advocate on the planet, but I think we're looking at her right here. Okay. Right here. Right. And so one of the biggest things, and this is for everyone listening now, is the old Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule. People who come to that summit have a big investment in money and time. People who come to boot camp or my boot camp live, or are listening right now, you're investing. You can receive the information, friends, but what do you do with it after you hear it? Now, sometimes you're overwhelmed with so many ideas and so many things that you said it's a cluster, right? You don't know where to start. So I just, please, by the end of this hour together, take one thing and do it so that you're not in the 80% of the 80-20 rule. Remember, right, TC, the 80,
right.
They're down, they don't make the cut. It's the 20 where I want everyone here to be in the 20. Means the action, the productivity, the results, the actual realization of goals and success only happens here. I want each and every one of you, Cheryl, Danny, Doreen, Glenna, Hans, Gina, and everybody who's on right now, to be in that top 20. And that's what our mission is today. Kisa, you sent in a great question. We're going to tackle that. There was a great article in Travel Agent Central about an emerging trend, TC, I want to discuss with you. But let's first, at your tenure with celebrity, tell us how many years and tell us what positions you held so everyone here understands your background?
Thank you, Stuart. Well, I started, and I know when I say this, it's a number that I can't even believe. I started 40 years ago in this industry, and I started as a travel. Back then, we were called travel agents,
Right.
and corporate, leisure, and I did every aspect of the travel industry, marketing, automation, whatever. And then I got into that other side, as we say, the other side of the desk, right? And I became involved in the supplier side with cruise lines, first Costa, and then I had an amazing ride for 24 years with Celebrity Cruises. And at Celebrity Cruises, I was a key account manager, a district sales manager, and I was also a training team, part of the training team.
Uh-huh.
And then during that time, I've got to work with many, many travel advisors and did do a lot of groups, every aspect from the promotional to the affinity, and tons of different affinity groups that I never even thought of, like knitting groups, scrapbooking.
Yeah.
Oh, the scrapbooking groups were hysterical because these ladies would get up in the middle of the night. This is a true story, in their jammies and robes and slippers, and they'd go to their designated room that was on the ship that the ship had did, and they would scrapbook in the middle of the night.
Oh my.
In the middle
That's
of the
commitment.
night. And they would do that. And then the next day they would have the day to enjoy the island or whatever. So many groups, all commonalities, they had something in common, whether it was the wine tasting, of course, cooking, we had a lot of women, mothers and daughters, getting away, aunts and the whole family, everybody just kind of joined, and they wanted a girls getaway, but more of a family women getaway. And I know we'll talk about that too.
Yeah.
But we had every type you could imagine. And again, that's what everyone needs to think about, is that common bond has really expanded. There are so many more types of groups that can be done, such as educational ones. There's people that are teaching classes. There's someone who is a financial advisor who is taking their clients with them, and they're doing financial advisor talks on board. So any kind of commitment or position that people do, and if they have a following, or that people like to listen to them, that's a group. That's an affinity group. You've got a nucleus.
Let me ask you, if I asked you to bubble it up and bubble it down to these two questions, I wonder what you would say. To bubble it up, what have you seen in your experience with hundreds, if not thousands, of successful groups? What's the one, that's not going to be easy for you to do, but try, the one key element that you saw as a common thread that made it super successful? And bubble it down, TC. What was the one common element, the one common thread that you saw have tens of thousands of groups fail? Because there's a lot more failures, unfortunately, than successes, especially being a celebrity. You saw the attrition rate,
yes,
right? Everybody listening, attrition is when you block 20 and you give back 18, keep 2. I'm exaggerating, but that's the reality of it. Everyone gets a little over eager, and that's why it makes it tough for the lines and hotels to say, sure, you can hold a space. No, we're going to come get it back because we're afraid we're going to get stuck with it. So question 1, that common thread, super success. Question 2, the common thread, bubble it down. Why do so many fail?
the bubble up.
Yep.
It falls directly on the advisor. And that is the research, that background information.
Okay.
And I'll explain. When you do get an affinity group and you have a group leader, the ones that succeeded were the agents that did, and I don't want to use the word investigation, but I want to use the word research and qualifying. There's that word, qualifying.
Okay.
They had their checklist. They had it organized. They covered all the bases with this group leader. They asked, why do you want to do this? How do you want to do this? What's in it for you?
Mm-hmm.
What are you going to do to make this group successful? Because I think the thing that we forget, we get so excited that there is a group, that you have to have that partnership with that group leader, and that group leader needs to be as committed to this group as you are.
Mm-hmm.
So the ones that succeeded, Stuart, are the ones that did
Okay.
their homework, are
Okay.
the ones that did that had that done, that answered those questions, and knew that they had a committed group leader. They knew that they covered all their bases before they went out, and even sometimes blocked space, Stuart.
Right. Right.
Right? They didn't go and hold 25 cabins or staterooms on our cruise ship. They went, and only after that conversation and after they solidified whether it's an agreement, checklist, whatever you use, then they block the space.
Can I just add a little sprinkle in there, because
Absolutely.
I worked at Celebrity when you were there too, and worked
Yep.
for Costa as well, and that was I'm so glad you mentioned that. That's sort of the first reaction I would see agents get, which is boom, go block that space. So excited, go block that space, and that's kind of a little bit right stuff.
Nope.
The investigation to play detective, right? I said that a lot at the summit. You got to play detective, get the history, understand why. Are you in it to win it for the
That's
group,
right.
or are you in it to win it just for yourself? And I'm talking the group leader. So that's good stuff. Thank
Okay.
you. Now, what brought him down? What's the common thread do you see? Do you think that that leads to so many failures?
It could be just the opposite of what I said, but it
Of
also
course.
is the
Uh-huh.
coordination.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the relationship that the agent has, that they have to have not only with the supplier, but with their clients. And the bond that both of those have, the commonality that they have to both of them, is that communication. Like, if that supplier is telling you, you have to have names by a certain time, you have to have money by a certain time, you have to have, your special request in. Okay, that's communication. The agent now has to make sure she does that. Well, then that person has to then go to the client and say, this is what we need to the group.
Mm-hmm.
If that is not done in a sequence, in the right time frame, you're going to run out of time. You're going to run out of time. You're not going to have enough time to market. And that's the communication to that client, is that marketing time. So sitting down and calculating, this is when I'm blocking the group. I now have up to 60 days prior to departure where I have to get final payment in. And you work backwards. You work backwards from that time to give you that window of opportunity to market, to get names, for the call to action. That is where I saw people, it just fell apart. Because what happens, Stuart,
Mm-hmm.
advisors are busy.
Yes.
This maybe is not their first, maybe it's their first group, maybe it's multiple groups. They have people calling them, they have other things to do, and this can fall through the cracks.
Yep.
And that's what happened a lot of times. There was just no action. They got nothing. They had the group leader, they had the space, but they had no traction.
Yeah.
And sometimes what happened, which is very sad, if that agent did not do that qualification, did not make an agreement with that group leader, did not say to them, yeah, you can get a free berth, but we have to produce, 8 staterooms, 16 people. And if you don't do that, then that doesn't work. A lot of people never did that, or it was something that wasn't put in writing. And a lot of times those groups went out with 2 people and that group leader got to go.
Yeah. Wow. Right. Because it was a gimme. It was sure you can go free. I mean, we talk about that at
Oh,
the
yeah.
summit ad nauseum on this podcast, Power Hour. We talk about that all the time. It's not about, it can't be the freebie. It can't be. Everything's got to be earned. So this is a quick yes or no question. The incentive program has got to be a tiered earn it, right? It's a pay to play, whatever you call it. Yeah, true. That's got to
Yes,
be.
absolutely. You
No
have to
gimme.
have that.
Number two, you believe in the group agreement letter, whether you use mine, I teach in boot camp, or your own, you believe in that to keep them accountable. Yeah.
Absolutely.
There you go. And then the other one, because this is part of what you were mentioning here, that helps overcome those debacles, if you will, those failures. The group launch sequence, the proper way in sequence. Don't be so excited to go out and just start sell, block the space, sell. No, 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 no. Right? Group launch sequence marketed first.
That's
Yes,
right.
super important.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
Yep.
pivot question here. In your tenure at Celebrity, you held lots of roles. You were the quintessential road warrior. In fact, you and I and other companies, Globus, I think it was, we partnered. Was it the Home Base Success Series? We
It was
traveled
the
the
home-based success series. Yeah.
5 cities, 5 days, back to back to
Yes.
back to back.
Back to back. And
I
many
can't even tell you
weeks.
how many cities we did, how many weeks we did.
Right. We forgot what city we were in many times
Right.
because we didn't know. Yes.
What was your favorite part of working on the supplier side on Celebrity? I hate to say supply, let's call them brand. Working for Celebrity, you were BDM, key account manager, trainer. First thing that comes to mind, what'd you love most about that?
The relationships. The relationships on both sides within the company and especially with the advisors.
Right.
Those relationships and helping the agents, having that trusted advisor position. Not only, and this is what I believe, not only are all of you that are here on, or any travel agent, you are a trusted advisor to your clients. And your supplier contact, your DSM, your key account manager, whatever your business development person, our business development team at NEXION, we're your trusted advisor.
Right. Yes.
It's a play it forward. It's relationships. We all have to achieve that level, not just be a travel advisor, travel agent. You want to be that trusted advisor.
Yeah. Right. I like what you said too. So everyone who's listening right now, are you taking advantage of the people who are offering you support? I happen to know NEXION, like TC and Martin Bussey as a coach. Your whatever organization you belong to, friends, are you taking advantage of their coaching? I know there's tons of webinars and trainings and Zooms and blah, 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 but what about the one-on-one? Can you schedule one-on-one? Are you participating in little mini think tanks and little mini masterminds so you don't get stuck in your own world? And I know you've been stuck at home, but maybe it hasn't felt that way because you're part of different communities.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, not to jump ahead, but it's one thing to be a part of travel professional communities. It's also, and this is going to lead me to the question I'm going to surprise you with that Kisa sent in, a boot camp member. See, you don't know what's coming. Isn't that great?
No, I don't know.
You and I live for that though. It's like,
Yeah.
come on, bring it. Try to stump the coach.
Bring it on. Bring it on.
Is that it's one thing that everyone is a part of communities of like-minded professionals. It's another that you're in communities of where the people who you believe will be your best prospects hang out. If you have a niche, which we're going to talk about, and are you hanging out where your niche hangs out? You can't just hang with the beautiful colleagues who you know and love and see on calls and used to meet at conferences. Will do again very soon. Are you hanging out with them? These other people who you want to be current for, who you want to demonstrate that you're an influencer. Are you out there enough? Are you putting yourself in opportunities way? Here's Keisha's question. And by the way, if you've just joined us, please go ahead and type in your comment, your question. Hello, Linda. Hello, Nancy. Nancy, you're so sweet. Nancy said, you're looking good. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I'm feeling good. I'm 2 weeks away from my first Ironman 70.3. So in like 3 weeks from now, I'm going to go back and listen to this podcast. That was Stu before he was an Ironman 70.3 guy. I'm ready, baby. I'm ready. So here's the question. I am beginning to offer hosted bucket list trips. Let me say it again. Keith, rock and roll, hosted bucket list trips. A lot there. So Keith is going to host, and it's a bucket list trip. Mm-hmm. And my first one is the Far East Asia itinerary on Celebrity Solstice. Going big. Very exciting. Target audience, 30 to 45-year-old males. It gets interesting now, who enjoy anime and want to experience Japanese culture. How's that for a niche?
Wow.
They have checked off major accomplishments in life and now want to experience it on another level. Can you advise what would be good strategic marketing points, benefits to push this trip forward? I could spend all day on this one. I'm excited for you. I have tons of questions for you, but you definitely, what I love here, Keith, is that you've identified everything. Now we got to make sure there's enough people. So I don't know if you already have people on your list, this kind of stuff, but let me first go to TC. First thoughts that come to mind that you would advise Coach Keisha and or ask.
Well, a couple of things. Keisha, of course, I wanted to know, are you the group leader? In other words, are you the glue? Are you the glue that's going to keep this group together, or is there someone else? The other is the marketing. She is. You are.
Yep.
Perfect.
Okay, cool. Yep.
Okay. So it then falls onto you to be that communicator, to make sure that the group knows what needs to come from them. What are you going to have on board? Are there going to be special events? You know, anything that you're going to do on board the solstice. The solstice is magnificent. If you have not been on a solstice class ship, it's got so much opportunity for you to do things. Maybe it is a culinary experience. Maybe it isn't. Maybe it's just, doing workshops. But I would like to know the marketing aspect, Keisha, what you have as a marketing plan. Again, questions, I'm not sure. I'm not familiar with this, but I am going to say the common things, the commonalities that groups have. Is there a newsletter that you can send out? Do you have a mailing list? Can you send out flyers? Is there a publication that they all have in common, maybe, that this group has, that they read? Can you get in there? Can you do a Zoom meeting with the group so everybody meets each other and they share their excitement and you get to meet everybody? Zoom is in the last year, it's become a great thing. Yes, people are sick of it, but it's a great way, especially if you have a group and they're all over the place. It's a great way to get to see each other and talk and try to develop the excitement, anticipation of this group. So that's what I've got to add, Stuart, for Keisha.
Yeah, I absolutely second everything you've said. So so my question to you, and by the way, Keisha, she is the group leader, which is awesome. Yep. I'm going to guess, let me assume, and you'll keep me honest if you're not, are you into Japanese anime? Obviously, if this is on your bucket list, I'm assuming this is a bucket list trip for you and you love it. You follow it.
She's not.
She said she's not. Okay. Now, so if I see you coming into my community, let's say I'm an anime, I'm that guy. Okay. I'm a little over the age limit. I'm a little over 45, just a tad. But let's say I was in your target audience And I see you coming in our Facebook group. I see you on the email list. I see you announcing an information presentation. Or if you go to Group Launch Sequence, I see you doing a little bit of a whisper campaign, right? A survey, a save the date information, right? The sequence. I'm going to want to know why you, Kisa, why are you leading this? Oh, wait a minute. But my younger brother and kids are heavily into anime. Okay,
All
so
right.
you
Okay.
have connectivity, because I'm going to want to
Yep.
know, who are you? I don't know you in this community. So then it, right, as TC said, what are the activities? What are we going to do? Why should I spend my money on this trip, go this time, go someplace I've never been, but potentially I've always wanted to go? Tell me why I should forego my other vacation and go here. And that's the features and benefits. And you all know it's B over F.
Yep.
Benefits over features. Who cares about features? Features, this is a coffee mug. Benefit, this is a heavy duty coffee mug that I acquired in Nashville from Fido, my favorite breakfast place, and it keeps my coffee warm. That's the benefit. It sounds a lot sexier. So, man, I'm excited for you, but you need to first make a list of all those features. And then right next to it, what's the benefit? What's the experience? Yes. What's the joy? What's the smell? What's the taste? What am I going to get out of it? And make sure you need to get inside their heads. What do they want to do? It may not be what you want to do. You may be thinking, oh, let's have a cocktail party. They may be thinking, no, let's have an anime party. I don't know what that looks like because it's not my niche. What do they do for fun? Why would they want to be together and share, especially if they've never met each other, but they have the same hobby, the same craft, the same practice?
What are their buttons? That's exactly it. Their buttons to it. What makes them excited and why they want to go? You know, like Stuart said, you have to, that's it. You've got to create the excitement. You have to create that anticipation and excitement in this group. So you have to immerse yourself in this.
I would also like to suggest that, and then I'm going to see if anybody else has any comments, questions, then we're going to move on. I would also like to suggest that you do some JVs, some joint ventures, reach out to some groups, organizations. I got to believe there's a ton of groups. They could be meetup groups, Facebook, Instagram, influencers, YouTubers. There's probably hundreds of them. Have a conversation. They don't have to be a group leader, but maybe they could be an affiliate. Remember that gentleman, that entrepreneur, Sean TC, at our summit.
Yes.
Okay. What he does is brilliant. He doesn't necessarily go get group leaders because he's it. He's the leader, right?
Yep.
But he makes deals with influencers. Hey, listen, if you promote it to your own group, if you bring me X amount of people at this level, then you can get X amount off of your stateroom, or you can eventually go complimentary. You can earn it. So he's right. You see, he's got an army of salespeople. He said, this is what you want. I want you to learn from Sean here. Set up an army of salespeople, because what I don't want you to do, and this is the final note, I'll ask TC if she has a final note on this. I don't want you spending money on advertising. It doesn't work. You need to be part of communities, probably virtual communities. Set yourself up as the trusted advisor to this, and that you're going too. Very important. You're going to be there, you're going. But you definitely need, I think, some partners in this. I really do. Any last thoughts, TC?
Absolutely. And again, we're saying the same thing. When I said marketing, I mean getting within that organization, not putting an ad in the newspaper. You know, in other words, fishing where the fish are.
Yep.
Going where they're going to read about it. That's why I asked, is there a way to get that foot in the door? The organization, the publication, a newsletter, get that mailing list, if that's what they still do. Now, again, if it's not a mailing list, it's an email list, okay? Somewhere to communicate. That is exactly what you want to do. You want to be able to, again, because you are the group leader, you're going to have to be the one that makes this group whole.
Yeah.
Okay. You're the nucleus, you're the person. And maybe within the group, like Seward said, there could be some other people. Maybe they want to do some talking. They want to do a session. They want to do a workshop. Jean Ann, do you see what Jean Ann wrote?
Yeah, go ahead. You want to read that?
Many people who are into anime are also into, is it cosplay or
I think so.
cosplay?
Yeah.
And there are conventions all over the country where Keisha can connect. So there's another thing of conventions. So now, Stuart, I am going to ask for either Keisha, many people, maybe some people that are on this call don't know what anime is.
Yeah.
So Keisha, do you want to give a fast description of what it is?
Yeah.
Maybe there is some,
and
and if you
yeah,
know
and
it,
I think it's great because this is something I've never heard before. It's all about new ideas.
so,
There we go. Adult cartoons and characters.
there you go.
Adult cartoons and characters. And I know that my adult stepkids, they love it. In fact, there's a what is it? Oh my goodness! Of course, rabbit hole. I don't want to go down there, but they recommended I watch. I can't remember to me, and it's fascinating stuff. It really is fascinating. It's
Japanese
very,
inspired.
So, yeah, Japanese inspired. All right, super cool. So if anyone else has any comments or questions, please, type them in, send them over to Keisha. And Hans just typed in. Here we go. I have contacted my local community college about teaching a travel group leader program. They are very interested. Does TC, do you know of any others who have done this?
Hans, I can honestly say I haven't. I haven't had any advisor do a group based on how to become group leaders. Now, with that said, I've had agents do that within their own agency. So how do I explain this, Stuart? So I've had some agents that went within their own agency and they put out I don't want to say an ad, some type of communication. And they have said, if you are part of an organization or part of an association and you would like to, travel with your group, contact me. I've had it that way, but on a small scale. Yep. But this is definitely a larger scale where you could definitely get them involved, teach them the ways of how to become a group travel leader, the do's and the don'ts. But again, this would be a cost chart. Yes. And that's exactly what I was going to get at, that it had to be structured around an educational purpose.
Yeah.
An educational purpose.
Well, he's going to teach this he's actually going to teach this at the college.
Yeah.
So I think it's a great concept. And we had Jeff Gadick. I don't know if you know Jeff on the show a couple of months ago on the podcast, because he published a book called Traveling Tribes, which it's a great book. So Hans was inspired there. Good luck, Hans. Keep in touch.
I think it's great.
Yeah, it's very different. It's interesting. And mark this down, TC, before we go. I want to get your opinion on fundraiser cruises. Okay, because that comes up a lot, and I know that's Hans's business, and it's tricky. It's very tricky.
It is.
Glenna, I see you have posted a question here. I'm going to ask that next. We're at the halfway mark. I just want to make a couple of quick announcements. And Keisha just said, I saw a presentation sponsored by CCRA last year from a college. I think Margie hosted it. So there you go. Maybe Hans and Keisha, you guys connect. Maybe you're able to get your hands on that, Hans, and see what's out there. How cool is that? Thank you for offering that.
I think Hans is a great idea. And it is, and what I like about this, whether better than what that agency did and just kind of threw it out there to people, you're going to be teaching, what you're going to be teaching the truth. I mean, you're not going to just be selling it like this agency did, saying, learn to travel the world, how you can travel the world. You're going to be teaching how they get to earn that and what they have to do, and that it isn't just oh, I'm going to go and bring thousands of people and I get to go free. That's what I like about that, Hans. You're going to be teaching all of
Right.
the ins.
And by the way, Hans, an opportunity for everybody too. And this, I was inspired by Marina, who is a boot camper, and she was at the group sales summit.
Yep,
Her
she's
daughter
here
was
today.
there, and hey, Marina, her daughter just graduated with a travel and tourism degree. I believe, maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong, that there's a whole renewed interest. There's a trend towards young people getting those degrees and having that interest. And man, I think it's very exciting for everyone who's listening right now, because they may be looking for work. They may be looking for a mentor or a coach or an opportunity to get into business. And Hans, you might be the magnet when you go do your speaking. So it's super cool. I was very inspired that she came to that event, and
Yes.
she was there checking out the facilities, and she's ready to roll and to work with Marina to build their group business. All right, let me take a quick announcement break here, because we're at the halfway mark. If you've just tuned in, my guest is not only a very dear friend, but also the business development and education manager at NEXION, and spent, I forget how many years was it at Celebrity?
24 years.
24 years at Celebrity in various capacities, including BDM, key account manager, and training manager, and your friend. So if you got a question for TC, bring it now, because she's got perspectives from all sides of the fence. Now from the host side, and prior from the brand side. So, the information, the skill sets that TC has and is bringing here is truly priceless. So
Thank you, Stuart.
the other thing I want to say is, if you want to be in the audience for the next two, I haven't even published this yet, Group Sales Power Hours. I'm going to do it May 20 and May 27. The reason for the gap is because I'm going to Panama City Beach to do my little triathlon. So May 20 and May 27 are the next two. Plus, last call for Boot Camp Live in June. If you're already a Boot Camp member, you come to it. It's already included. If you've never been at Boot Camp, you can't buy it anymore. It's closed, but you can do Boot Camp Live. It's 3 days, 9 hours of nonstop training from yours truly, Stewie. If you can take me for 3.5 days, 9 hours, I'm closing the door. This is your last chance. Listen to me, friends. It will never happen again, ever. If you want in, do it now. Now we're going to go to the question from Glenna. Here we go. I want everybody's input, including, of course, we'll start with TC, but everyone chime in. Oh, Doreen, she's very excited about boot camp in June. Whoopee, I am too. I'm very excited. It's exhausting and fulfilling for me. I'm working with a functional doctor and his following of over 2,000 people. I was set to book Celebrity for fall 2020, but COVID hit. I checked the dates for next fall 2022 and just checked rooms on board, but most are sold out. 2022, friends. Fall 2022 sold out. So I want to hold what rooms I need before getting started. The doctor has agreed to start his process again, and I will be the group leader. I have a list of those interested from last year, but not sure if I will have the same numbers for next year's trip. Can you give me some pointers? TC, any thoughts?
Yeah, I have just a question, Glenna. So I know you said you're the group leader. Is this doctor going to be the influencer? Is he going also? Okay, that's my first question. I'm not going to assume that he is. If he is going, okay, he is. If he is going, my next question is, of course, did you have a conversation with him? Did you have the qualifying conversation? Did you tell him and share with him in order for this to work? And if he wants to go on this trip, that you have to have so many staterooms sold. And if it's not reached, then he can't go. Did you have that conversation with him? Okay. All right. So Glennon, my first thing, some pointers would be you need to have a conversation with this doctor. You need to see what he wants or expects, let me use that word, expects, and what, if he does earn his berth, if that's what he wants, or if he says, no, I'm not going to do that, then you need to look at your bottom line. You need to look at the return on investment. What is he willing to do to help you with this group? Is he going to go on board, and is he going to do talks? Is he going to do sessions? Is he going to give over the 2,000 people mailing list or email list to you? And do you have access? I believe, I'm assuming that you do, because you're going to start the ball again, or is he going to do all that? So that would be my first, I think, concern, Glenna, is where he stands in all this and what he expects or what he wants. Okay. Now, as far as the space, again, based on his clientele, I don't know how well you know his following, but are we looking at just, I'm saying the word inside stateroom. Oh, I can't even say it, right? It's a closet, or ocean view and above. Are they looking at only balconies? So again, if that's the case, and if you're looking at maybe you're only going to sell a couple outside and then everything else is going to be balconies, then okay, maybe the space needs to be held if it's closing in. But I would certainly, if that is the case, if you're going to hold space and celebrity's going to say, and especially if this sailing looks like it's selling out, they're going to give you a hard stop of when you've got to get names or money in. At that point, you've got to have that talk with this doctor that this is what's happening, move it up, maybe 30 days, Glenda, when that is due, and lay out that marketing, lay out that communication plan. And again, when I say marketing, I'm not saying paying for it. I'm just saying getting the news out to the clients, to his following. So I don't know if that helps, but the very first thing you have to do is that conversation with this doctor.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my opinion.
Yeah. And Glenn, I don't know if you've ever seen my, so you did. Glenn took my group session in March. I want to do all that, but just worried about the rooms, which now puts pressure on me. Yeah. What's happening is, I mean, just like my partial ship charter on the Christina. Yeah, Christina was April 2017. Hello. Verda, July 2022 is already sold out. So that's what we're seeing here. So a couple of things I'd like to suggest, Glenna, and thank you very much for being a part of Boot Camp Live in March. And please go back and do the group viability test. Please do the group agreement letter. Make sure that you vet the group leader. Yes, he's got a nice following, but as TC said, know before you go, play detective, ask the right questions, get the group agreement letter ironed out so he knows what you're doing and you know what he's doing, and do the group launch sequence. And I would start small. I don't care that he's got 2,000 followers. That's wonderful. But only 20 may go. Only 12 may go. I would rather see you, TC. I'll tell Glenn, I would rather see you start small.
Oh, I agree.
Sell that puppy out in a heartbeat, so that the next one you go bigger. And
you'll have a record with celebrity then too, a track record, because that's what they do look at. You know that, all of you know that. Okay, you were thinking of, now when you say 40, Glenn, is that 40 people or 40 staterooms?
Right.
Okay. And again, based on the availability, okay, 40 people. All right. Beautiful. So that's beautiful. But again, as you said, if this is a sailing that is in demand and is already sailing out, you may not have a lot of wiggle room with them. In other words, they may say there is a hard stop on this date. Like you've got to get names and you've got to get initial deposits in, because if this is a demand, sailing in demand, they know they're going to be able to sell it out. So it makes it even more critical for you to have that conversation with that doctor, and more critical to, again, move it up a little and start your communication to these people. And tell them this is a very popular departure date. This is it. Do that call to action. Do not be afraid. Do that, and maybe do. I mean, Stuart, they may not have enough time to do the teaser, but you could do a teaser like Stuart suggests. Say, and it's the truth. Space is running out. This is a very popular sailing, and this is what you have to do in order to go. But they're going to want to know, why should they go in this group?
Right.
What is going to be offered?
What's the affinity?
Yeah. What is it? What is it that's going to want them? Maybe just the name of the doctor going will do it for them, but.
Yeah, right. I mean, if he's a guy everyone loves hanging out with, that's one thing. If he's a guy who's written books, or he's going to do some stuff, right. What's the benefit? Not just the feature is he's going to be there.
Right. What is the benefit?
Now, I just want to wrap that up by giving you a couple of quick insights here, not only for your opportunity, Glenna, but for everyone listening right now. And then right after this, I'm going to ask you to give a couple of thoughts on fundraising groups, what you see works and doesn't work. And then we're going to go to the trends, 2022 and beyond trends that you see. Especially, I'll reference that article, that emerging trend that you sent me the link of. So I want to make sure we cover that before we close. So listen up, friends. Group business is going to come back like a tsunami. So the good news is that you've got an enormous population who may have never thought of traveling as a group before, thinking of traveling as a group. And most of them don't have a travel advisor. Most don't. They don't know how to do it themselves. And if they do it themselves, listen to me carefully, write down Stuart's words. If they do it themselves, they're going to screw it up. You could count on that. And I guarantee TC could say, having been on the brand side, she would see when the consumer did it themselves, they got on board the ship and it was a disaster. They didn't know what to do, how to do it. And they had a lousy time because all the work was on their shoulders and stuff happens. Only a travel professional knows to anticipate. So yeah, the opportunities are bigger and better. Well, I mentioned this last time, friendship reunion trips, friendship reunion, not just family, friendship reunion, bigger and better. So here's the downside. Here's the challenge. Because there's this mass push towards get the bookings. We got to do it as soon as we can go. We want to go. It's selling out faster than ever before. And I guarantee you the cruise lines and hoteliers are going to make it real tough to take space on spec. Sure, go ahead. Hold these 20 cabins. Don't worry about it. No, they're going to want money. So you better have cash on hand and be prepared to sign contracts where they may take the space back if you don't sell it, because they're going to sell it. Why are they going to sell it?
That's right.
Bigger demand than ever before. And have you thought of this, friends? Every single line has taken ships out of their fleet. Let me let that marinate for a second. There's less staterooms. There are fewer ships, which means supply and demand. Are you thinking what I'm thinking? Demand is higher, supply is lower. Prices will be higher. Good for you. However, getting that space is going to be tough. So you need to be on your game, friends. You need to be an absolute expert at doing groups, or else no brand is going to want to talk to you, because they're going to go where the business is coming in. That was I on point here, TC?
Absolutely. Yeah. And you do want to build a track record. That's why the suggestion that Stuart made is, go small, fill that space. If they see that you come in with an affinity group and you keep selling, even if it is 16 staterooms, 20 staterooms, and you fill them, then next time you call and you've got a group, they can look up your history and they can say, yeah, Glenna, yep, she'll come through. She does affinity groups. She's got a track record. Her attrition level, because they can run reports, attrition level is very, very small.
Yep. That's an insider scoop, by the way.
It is an insider scoop. They certainly do. And they give it to their sales managers, and the sales managers see it. Stuart, so Hans wants to just thought
Yes.
about fundraising groups. So
Yeah, your experience with fundraising groups, because it's tricky.
it is
Go ahead.
very tricky, Stuart.
Yep.
And it does depend on the association organization. Okay, so I did a number of them, and many agents came to me with fundraiser, and a lot of them were different. So one was the Diabetes Association, and they were having a silent auction, and so we participated. We did give a cruise. Now, let me tell you how this works. The cruise had a price on it, and it was based, we only did it on balcony stateroom, not inside, not ocean view, but balcony. There was a price that was listed in the silent auction, and it was still an attractive price, Hans. Again, not dirt inexpensive, but attractive. And of course, it included certain amenities. At the time, it included maybe the drink package or an evening at the specialty. Something was included. And then they would bid. And I would have to say that 8 out of 10 times, that type of approach, a silent auction approach, was a win-win for everybody. Okay. It won for the people who bought the cruise. And now here's where the catch was. Not only did we do that, but the other side of it was a group was blocked for the association. And that's where that affinity group would come in. So the stateroom was part of the group space. So these people, whoever win it, whoever got it, they were part of the group automatically. And then there was a nucleus that people could join to go on the same cruise. Then they made an arrangement that X amount of dollars, if you went on the cruise, they would then donate to the association separately from the payment of the group, which of course makes it easy for the agent. That X amount of dollars would go to the Diabetes Association. That's how it was presented. And that is the easiest way. Because as you know, Hans, sometimes if you add that donation in with the payment of the group and you make that payment to the cruise line, it gets all in one bucket. Okay. And then you get more involved in the financial part of maybe separating the donations.
TC, what about the activity on board? Because one of the things we always talk about is, well, I'll just write you a check. There's nothing compelling for me to go with this group. I'll just write you a check. So what would they have to do? What they need to do? What have you seen done on board where maybe these people don't know each other? They have a common,
Yep.
They want to raise money for that, but share any of your experiences.
For this particular one, believe it or not, it was that common bond. They were all so much immersed they all had personal experiences too, yeah, of family members that had diabetes, of people, unfortunately, that had passed. So that was a glue, and they just wanted to go. They all loved each other. Oh my God. In other groups that we've done that was similar to this, sometimes the association already had an influencer. Again, a name that wasn't used back then, but is used now.
Yeah, right.
And it was maybe a local entertainer. It was also could have been, depending on the fundraiser and the association, it was workshops that they did on board. So again, that is depending on the association, how they wanted to do it. You would do the qualifying, just like we've been talking about. That's on that checklist. What brings this group together? What are their buttons? Why are they such a successful group? Why are they doing the fundraiser? There's the big thing. Why? Is it to gather more research? Is it to build a building? Is it like for a religious? Is it for the church? Again, that's what you need.
Yeah, I like that, especially what you just said. What is the specific? Is it it would be better if it wasn't just a general fundraiser, but it was
Right.
a specific campaign.
Exactly right.
I like that. We want to build a new wing, or
That's
we
right.
needed this
More
equipment.
research. Right.
Yeah, whatever that is, so people know, okay, this is another compelling reason I want to be a part of this. And the final note there is that I wonder if some of these fundraising organizations have local influencers, celebrities who they know they can count on, they can tap. Hey, would you jump on a call? Would you come to a meeting? Or we
Mm-hmm.
got a group, would you come and participate and meet? Because they like to depend on them as magnets to help bring in the money, yeah, and to lend a friendly face and to say, hey, come, we need your help, we need your support.
You're right,
uh
Nancy. You're right,
yeah,
Nancy. They usually do.
yeah, yeah.
They
Auction
usually do.
has a cause. And I do want to go back up. I want to answer Nancy's question about attrition. Would you define attrition, please?
So attrition is this. Say you block, and I'm doing it from, and it can be any type of vendor, any type of brand. Okay.
Mhm.
You're blocking a group, you block 8 staterooms. You sell 4.
Mhm.
Your attrition is 50%. Basically, you've given back 4 staterooms. That's attrition. That's what the most suppliers, brands look for. If you're doing groups, especially affinity groups, promo groups, attrition factor is off the graph because you don't have a nucleus, but the promotion, but the affinity groups is what they really look at. And especially for the people, for the agents that do large numbers, like they go and they book 100 staterooms because they're going to have this huge group and they're sitting on 100 staterooms and they only come in with 25.
Mhm.
So that's a big attrition. That's,
Yep.
75% right there. And that cruise line or that supplier or that brand is going to look at that and saying, yeah, we're not going to give 100 staterooms.
Right, because the track record. All right,
That's right.
we
All
have
right.
in 1 minute.
Yes.
And by the way, when I was at Celebrity, if I'm not mistaken, 33% roughly stuck, which means the general attrition rate was 2/3 attrition, 2/3 of the space held.
Yeah.
Fell through. All right, quick comment on this. I just want to share this. TC sent me this link, tracking an emerging trend, women's group tours and vacations in Europe. Let me just read this paragraph and give us your thoughts real quick on this. As pent-up consumer demand burgeons for European travel, tour operators and travel advisors are seeing a distinct rise in popularity of women's travel as small groups of BFFs. Female-friendly members and hobby club members are eagerly anticipating sooner rather than later visits to diverse European destinations. Your quick thoughts on that trend?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We've been hearing about this, and I'm not just saying women, but this is the article, and there's more than that. The women want to get together now that things are opening up, and they want to hug. They want to bond. They need that. Okay. They need that attachment. And it's not just with girlfriends, it's with their daughters, it's with extended family. It's with female book clubs. Okay. That's one thing that came out of here. Many people have gone back to the book clubs, they could do them virtually. Well, now these groups want to go together. They don't want to just go to anywhere. This is a trend that's going back to Europe. They want Europe. Now, the other thing that is so good about this and was exciting, and you have to do some research, is there are brands that are actually developing itineraries that are aimed at this type of group.
Wow.
Just for women.
That's so cool.
So again, look at that. Look at these brands. This is a great, and these are not big groups. We're not talking hundreds. We're talking maybe that 8 stateroom, 16 people.
It's quality over quantity.
Exactly.
And I want to call out Nancy's success, Women Walking in Wine. One day or day one, she's already in this niche. She's knocking it out of the park. It's beautiful. So thank you for sharing that. And Doreen, in closing, thank you, TC and Stuart, for an amazing Power Hour. Love the Women Travelers idea, right up my alley. Hey, TC, as always, this was fun. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Stuart, for the invitation. You know how much I love working with you forever, all through the years. So thank you. And thank you, all of our travel advisors who joined today. I hope you at least got, as Stuart said at the beginning, one thing out of this, one tip.
There you go. Thanks, TC. Be well, everybody. We'll see you next time.